And together we make Shock Kombucha. Shock Kombucha is obviously a kombucha manufacturing company. Our brewery is in Grand Bend, right on Main Street, and we are going to get into it, I guess. Yeah. Can we explain all of the stuff in the slides? So I don't want to go through it right now and then be like, you already said that, Laura, right? Mm-hmm. So a little bit of our agenda. We're going to talk about who we are, how this whole thing started, like who comes up with the idea that they want to own a kombucha brewery anyways, right? How we positioned ourselves in the industry and how we continue to position ourselves in the industry, where we currently are, and our goals and visions and mindsets where we are hoping 2019 will carry us into. So, who we are. So, I'm Laura. We are both registered holistic nutritionists. That is how we met. We went to the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition, which is a nutrition college here in London. We both graduated together in November 2016. And then once we graduated, kombucha was not on our radar. We'll get into how it kind of came up. But now I am actually a teacher at the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. We both specialize in digestive health. And I also, since I live in the country, near Grand Bend, I know a lot of farmers and farmland and all that kind of stuff, so I teach eco-nutrition there as well, and a whole bunch of different practicals. Mama 3, blogger, you just immerse yourself into the fields, right? And that's kind of what I've done.
Yeah, I guess basically just getting into why we wanted to become natural nutritionists is a different story as well, but basically I decided to apply to the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition because of my kids. They both have allergies, peanut allergies, anaphylactic, all that kind of stuff. So I was looking for answers as to how to help my kids heal their guts and finding connections between the mind, the body, and the spirit.
Okay, so then together, Shannon and I, we obviously make up Shock Kombucha, but we are Lambton Shore's first and only kombucha brewery. When we opened up Culture Shock, we were actually the only one in both Lambton County and Huron County. Now there's another kombucha brewer in Sarnia, so we're no longer the only one in Lambton County, but we are still the only one in Huron County, which is pretty cool as well. So my reason as to how it all began, that's my pop right there. And he was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer in 2012, the same cancer that our beloved Gord Downey passed away from. And I'll never forget the day. So obviously you have this devastating news, right? And you're like, oh man, I need to do something to save my dad, right? Obviously anyone's gonna be like that. So I was obviously in the nutrition field. I went to school here, so did Shannon. We both graduated from Fanshawe. I took fitness and health promotion. So nutrition has always been a big core value of mine, right? So when Dad got sick, I was like, hey, nutrition, for me is the end all be all kind of thing, right? Nutrition is what we are literally made of, ourselves and our fluids and everything, right? So kind of go to where it all begins in the body. And that's how I discovered CSNN. And I'll never forget the day where I found people that would help Dad, right? And to help somebody who is very acidic like that, if you have cancer, if you are disease riddled, you need to alkalize your body, right? So that includes obviously more vegetables, whole foods, limited meat, that kind of thing, right? And I was mentioning all this to Dad, and I was on cloud 9, right? I'm gonna save you, Dad. And he says to me, Laura, if I'm gonna die, I wanna die my own way, which is basically his way of saying thanks, but no thanks, right? And I'll never forget that day. That day was the day that it turned from me trying to save my father's life to try to save me and my life and my children's life and my husband's life, right? And so that's how I went to CSNN. Graduated, and after graduation, that's when I decided to niche down into digestive health, because you guys might not know this, but in our world, digestive health is everything, and digestive health is the root cause of all disease in our society. So that is how I niched down, or why I niched down to digestion.
Yeah, so like I said, I got into it because of my kids. I was also a daycare provider for 8 years, so kids are kind of my thing. So after graduating, that's what I specialize in is children's nutrition, children's digestion, working with kids with ADD, autism, allergies, of course. Yeah.
So the ball begins to roll. Okay, so like we say, it's like, well, how do you get into kombucha, right? So when I first graduated, it was very much, I wanted to be at home with my kids and be able to, before, get them on bus, get them off bus. I really didn't, like, I'm not the type of person that like bows down to the man, you know what I mean? Like I hate being like, under other people's control, and I'm sure you guys are like that too. You guys are in the business, of course you guys want to be your own bosses too, right? Same situations going on here. So I decided that I wanted to have my business online, and I'm sure some of you guys and all of you guys know that when you are trying to build a business online, emails is how you make your money, right? Through email marketing and stuff. So for me, it was very much, okay, how am I going to get as many emails as possible? So I started doing these things that I call the whole night out. And I would go to people's houses and I would talk about various different topics from like, I don't know, why is digestion health important to how to eat vegetarian to how to make your own kombucha. Like I did it all, right? And so then the class I was doing, the kombucha one, this is actually it. This is our very first class that we took a picture of Shannon and I here. And I said to Shannon, Shannon, I'm teaching this course or like this class, and I need to buy some Scobies off of you, because Shannon was always like the Scobie queen, right? And she said, sure, no problem. And she said, how many do you need? Well, I need at least 10 for sure. Well, why don't you just come and teach it with me? Like, why am I doing this by myself? You might as well join me. It's funner with you anyways, right? So she came, and after this class, we were on such a high. It was amazing. Everybody was really into us. Everybody wanted to find out more. They wanted more of our brews. And we were driving home, and we were like, let's do more. And so we started doing more classes, and then we started doing more talks, and then people were really asking us to start buying our kombucha from us. And so that is literally how Culture Shock started. And it turned from me wanting like my own online business to going into a manufacturing thing, right? Like it's wild how life happens, and like one door might seem like it's shut, but one door doesn't shut before another one opens, right? So right now when you're sitting here and you're thinking graduation, I'm gonna do A, B, and C, and D, like if E happens, that's okay, right? Because that you need to do A, B, and C in order to get to E, and that's all okay. It's just your journey, right? Just be open to whatever comes your way, right? So how it all started then?
Yeah, so we were really excited, we're gung-ho, we wanted this business to happen, we wanted to make kombucha. So how did we make that happen? Well, we needed a commercial kitchen. To sell any sort of products out there, you need to have a regulated, health inspected kitchen. So we were looking for one that maybe we could rent. And so we found a couple, and then we checked into that. We also looked into possibly using other brewers' kitchens as well, so like Bad Apple Brewing, things like that. But we were worried about cross-contamination since kombucha is like a yeast and bacterial. We were worried about things that were in the air, so if anybody's making bread, sourdough, beer, anything else can actually contaminate our brew. So we knew that wasn't going to work out, unfortunately. But yeah, also finding our supplies. So we needed to find like our tea, we had to make sure we're using the best quality water, we had to figure out where to get it from, how to set it up, all of our equipment, so we had to research where to get our equipment from, and all that kind of stuff, if we could use used equipment or if it had to be brand new equipment. And the logo was fun. The logo took forever. So there's different sites that you can look into. So I think we used Fiverr to begin with. So Fiverr is great. It's like a whole bunch of different designers on there. You can pick one that you like, ask them to like do a design for you. You can tell them what you want. You want a beach logo, you want it round, and they'll create something for you, usually for about $5, $8, $10, something like that. So that's how we started it, and we kept going back and forth and getting them to change it. I don't know, we were working on it maybe for 5, 6 months. I felt like forever.
It was a lot more.
It was a long time. It was a long time. And then finally we took that design to an actual design artist, graphic designer, yeah. So and then they finished up our and made our logo for us.
They are just $5 to $10.
Yeah.
But we spent so much money.
It gave
on
us
it cost us a lot more than that.
It gave us created our idea, created what we wanted, and then the graphic designer made it whole, made it pretty.
Yeah, one of the things why I guess like we're harping on the logo so much is that kombucha is one of the biggest or the biggest non-alcoholic beverage-based like the growing the amount that it's growing. It's the biggest in the industry, non-alcoholic beverage. And so it's very competitive then, right? This is worldwide. So they're predicting in 2020 that that kombucha sales in Britain is going to surpass $1.9 billion. So like this is huge. Kombucha is huge, right? So with all the manufacturing and like the big guys in Ontario, and then you have like little like pop-ups like us and like that other one that I was telling you about in Lambton County and stuff like that, right? Like how can we distinguish ourselves? We'll get into that a little bit more about how we are still continuing to distinguish ourselves, but our logo is very much one of those reasons how we are doing that. We get told even to this day that like it's very beachy looking. We can actually probably do you guys want some samples too? We have a whole bunch of here.
Yeah.
Well, here, do you want to do that and then they can see the logo or something? Is that cool?
Has anyone ever not had? Oh, how many? One, two, three.
Some non-kombucha.
Really?
Yeah. Cool. Well,
Just
hopefully you guys
because
like it.
you're afraid of it? Or just
I've
never?
actually never even heard of it before.
Wow.
Oh, so
Okay,
maybe
so
we
you're-
should tell you what kombucha is. How about we do that? That's probably a good thing. So kombucha is a fermented health drink. So it's fermented tea, and it is loaded with a whole bunch of beneficial bacteria, which is good for like gut health and manufacturing different kinds of vitamins, and for brain health, cognitive function. Like once you get into the world of digestive health, that's when we're talking about like total body well-being. Then. Yeah, it is carbonated. Even though it's tea, it self-carbonates during the through the fermentation process. So it's gonna taste more like a pop than a tea. Yeah, super fun, right? Any other questions? Okay.
What flavors have
So
you
you
tried?
just basically kind of have to
What
work
flavors
backwards
have
then,
you tried?
right? So this is what our brewery used to